Hello everyone, this is Dr. Angie Applegate, the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction, and I am going to be giving you a CISD School Board update over our District Improvement Plan and Campus Improvement Plan process as to where we are right now. I know you're excited and you've been waiting all summer for this, so we're going to give the overview once again of the District Improvement Plan. One of the big areas that we have this year are overarching goal focus areas. And what you're going to notice is our district and campus goals are actually going to be the same through all of our plans that we have. Once again, our format that we're going to be using is a company called Plan for Learning. And so within that, it's going to be very user-friendly as far as how we're entering in all the information, but also it's going to be very clear as far as our data and our problem focus areas that we're going to be showing. So right now, this is just kind of an overview. The first goal is our personal growth and experiences, really looking at those academic areas for learners as well as some of the social emotional pieces. And it's going to tie in some of our STAR data and performance areas that we have right there and how we're measuring growth. The next area is going to be looking at our goal 2 for authentic contributions. This is definitely going to be looking at some of our learner interest areas as well as how we're focusing on the whole child within how they're actually contributing to the world. Well-being and mindfulness for goal 3, once again looking at that social emotional piece as well as looking at overall safety. And then our goal 4 is going to be looking at organizational improvement and our strategic design process. One of the things that you will notice throughout all of our goals as well as some of our different strategies that we have, they are going to tie nicely to our strategic design and those core values that we have. And so the whole time that we were working on the district improvement plan, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be embedding some of those pieces throughout, so you'll be able to see some of those areas as well. These are looking right now, once again, and this is an expansion of the district and campus goals. So everyone will have these particular goals, and I'm not going to read these aloud to you, but you can go back and read all of this within the presentation and watch this again as well. But once again, this just kind of expands on the different areas right here for goal number 1 for personal growth and experiences. Really looking at, once again, the learning at high levels and that ownership of learning, those authentic contributions, once again touching on the passions, gifts, and talents within our community, and really looking at that responsibility and integrity piece. We felt that that was very integral to what we needed to look at for our learners. Once again, the well-being and mindfulness, talking about the safe, inclusive environment, and of course, organizational improvement and strategic design. And this is really going to be looking at the processes that we have and really looking at systemically what is working and what are the areas that we need to tweak or that we need to focus on in a greater manner. When we were going through our process for our district improvement plan as well as the campuses with their campus improvement plan, instead of using the No Child Left Behind standards, which were the older measurements, what the state has now told us is we have another area that we can look at, and it's called multiple measures of data, and it's 4 categories, so it breaks it down a little bit more so. And the 4 that we're looking at are our demographics, our student academic achievement, district processes and programs, and perceptions. So once again, after we did the needs assessment, we talked about all the different areas and all the pieces that we really needed to focus on as a district. Once again, this process has looked a little different before within our district improvement plans. A lot of times we are highlighting more of those wonderful things that are going on, or here's some different pieces of learning that are happening across the district. This is really getting down to the nuts and bolts of things where we're looking at problem statements, and within those problem statements then we're going to be finding how exactly we need to target those specific needs. So you'll notice once again with the district needs assessment, the problem statements were developed, and some of these problem statements may also be problems for campuses, but sometimes they may not. Sometimes a problem statement that the district has overall, a specific campus may be doing very well. So there's a lot of flexibility in how campuses are also developing their problem statements. The first multiple measure right here is looking at demographics, and these are the 3 problem statements that we have come up with as a group within the individuals that were going through the data and looking at all the different pieces. These are things, just so you'll know, when I say the individuals going through this, the curriculum department had great input into all of the different pieces right here, as well as our principals and assistant principals have gone through this process to look at these different areas and to give feedback as well. So within this, we're looking at, once again, enhancing communication and engagement. We have some things that are going very well with communication, but we also know that this is an area of need across the district. There's also a need for professional learning for staff members to eliminate potential bias that may exist. We have done a few things within our district focusing on this, but this is still one of those areas that we have found that we are needing to focus on more. And then there's also a need to establish and maintain strong positive relationships for all learners. And you'll notice that that's one of those areas too that ties in very nicely with our strategic design work, because not only is it a core value, but we know that there's growth to happen in that particular area. The next piece right here is looking at student academic achievement and our problem statements. Big pieces that I'll just kind of highlight as we're going through, really looking at that quality tier 1 instruction, and then making sure that our interventions that are currently in place or that need to be in place, that we're tightening those up a little bit to ensure that we're meeting the needs of all of our learners. Really looking at reading and writing skills and focusing on early intervention. We did focus specifically on reading and writing because those are two of the skills that you need throughout all of your content areas, and so we felt that that was a great need of focus right there, especially with some of our new pieces with balanced literacy, looking at our language arts curriculum. Number 3 right here, definitely there are some pieces within CTE endorsements and enrichment opportunities that are really having stronger ties to not only career, but also life readiness and those certifications that we may have within that for our learners. And then number 4 is looking at that equitable access to the curriculum. We have some wonderful curriculum that has been developed, and it is continuing to be developed as we're going through this year and through future years. However, one of the big pieces is actually making sure that all of our learners are not only having access, but how it's also being implemented across the district. Continuing on, looking at other academic achievement areas right here in problem statements. We are really needing to focus on the qualitative and quantitative data and making sure that we are really establishing that evidence of learning to help learners to meet their actual targeted goals. This is going to become evident a lot within our PLC process that we're utilizing as a district, as well as campus to campus being able to focus on their data and then how they're sharing that data to across the district. Number 6 is looking at that social emotional skills. We have highlighted the following 4 areas, looking at leadership, grit, perseverance, and self-advocacy, to hone in specifically on some of those skills. And we decided on those 4 because we felt that those were areas when you're thinking about academic achievement, that if you're not having some of these core components, that there could be some areas within our social emotional growth that we need to target. On number 7, we looked at iPad utilization pre-K through 12, as well as a big piece of that is not just the utilization of that tool, but also how it's truly impacting learner achievement across the board. And we also have a problem statement that is focused on digital learning, digital citizenship, and information literacy, which is a big piece for living in today's world. As we're moving on and looking at processes and programs, here are the district problem statements that will be aligned to this particular area. A big piece is, once again, that I had spoken to earlier, creating and maintaining systems that are truly supporting those high levels of learning for all. Looking at our professional learning decisions, making sure that they are evidence-based in everything that we do, as well as making sure that our professional learning is aligned. There are some holes right now within all 3 of these areas in which we may have some learners who are not being as successful due to a system that is in place or is not in place, as well as looking at our professional learning as a whole. Those are just some big areas that we really feel that with our processes and programs that we can target and help out in those areas. Perceptions, looking at these different pieces right here, when we're thinking about perceptions, these are things where someone may look at the district and say, because we are having these certain programs in place, everything should be working smoothly. We should have great focuses on all the different things that are going on. However, sometimes there may still be holes. Right now, there is a need to focus on the social emotional wellness of learners. This is something that has come out as well within our work within the strategic design, and so you're going to hear a lot about looking at the whole child and being able to find those different processes that we can tighten up as a district in order to help all of our kids. Another piece right here is, once again, that safe and secure learning environments across the district. As you know, safety has been a huge priority that we are trying to make sure that not only at the campus level, but also other buildings too across the district, that we have all of our systems in place and that we are really, really working to do everything that we can to keep all of our learners safe and also inclusive in all of our learning environments for the learning that's happening. And then the third one right here is really looking at identifying and elevating additional measures of success for learners. That is something, as you know, that is tied to one of the core values that has been identified within our strategic design work. And so that is another element right there that we are looking at for perceptions. Now, as we're going through and as you look at the format this year for our district improvement plan and campus improvement plans, what you'll notice is you'll have your overarching goal piece there. So you have goal number 1, which is the personal growth and experiences. Underneath each of the goals, you'll have performance objectives. So as you can see right here are the first 4 performance objectives. Now you can think of the performance objectives similar to sub-goals. So underneath each of these performance objectives, which you're not going to see this piece right now within this update, but you will see this piece for our next update for the district improvement plan, you will have strategies. So for example, under performance objective 1, you may have right here, all pre-K through 12th grade learners will be provided high-quality Tier 1 instruction that is aligned to the TEKS and/or course-specific standards. Underneath Performance Objective 1, you may have 1 to 3 strategies that we're going to be focusing on for this year. What we're not going to do is overload. Once again, going back to overloading and thinking about the different pieces within strategic design that came out, we are going to be looking at limiting those strategies that we have for these sub-goals so that we can really target and we can really get all of our district focused on specific areas. So you'll notice that there's a little asterisk next to some of these different performance objectives. The asterisk is there as well to help campuses to know that this may be a particular area that they want to have highlighted within their campus improvement plan. There's some flexibility on that, but a lot of these particular goals pertain to what campuses may be working on as well. And once again, through each of these, the Tier 1 instruction is huge within Objective 1. The next piece is going back to that qualitative and quantitative data. A big piece here is looking at those meaningful relationships that are promoting efficacy and achievement. And the final one right there is really looking at how we're going to exceed certain standards where applicable for all of our learner groups. Our final performance objectives under personal growth and experiences are looking at our state and federal system safeguards. You'll notice on this page that we do have some pieces that are linked to STAR. It is a requirement within the state of Texas for our district improvement plans to tie in some of our performance standards that we have right here, or objectives, to some of our data that is currently used for the state in order to have those multiple measures. So that's why you will see some of those elements highlighted a little bit more so within this particular goal and performance objectives. So once again, it's looking at our STAR achievement right here for performance objective 6 for special education, English learners, and economically disadvantaged, as well as once again number 5 is looking at that meets or mastered performance level that we want to increase over the previous year in each subject area that's assessed. Moving on to goal number 2, this is looking at authentic contributions. And so once again, the first goal right there had a few more of our performance objectives kind of linked to that overall looking at academic achievement. These are going to be even more targeted at some of the different pieces that we're doing that are going to highlight these areas. So you'll notice in these performance objectives, the first one right there is really looking at our courses and activities that are focused once again not only on career, not only on college, but also on life readiness for our kids. And then performance objective 2, the multiple opportunities to showcase and evidence of learning that's happening. And then performance objective 3 is definitely looking at those tools and strategies, once again, that are quantitatively and qualitatively measuring academic and social emotional growth. Now remember, once again, each of those performance objectives will have strategies underneath them, but it is going to be typically 1 to maybe 3 strategies that we would have so that it can very much be focused on how we can accomplish these different goals. Going on to goal number 3, looking at our well-being and mindfulness, we have these 3 performance objectives. And then the first one right there is really looking at how we are reviewing and revising our curriculum documents. A lot of work has happened this summer within the revision as well as development within the language arts area. So that will be a continual process, and we're going to look and see once again that equitable access. You're going to hear a lot about that within the curriculum piece throughout the year. Performance objective 2 is really looking once again at digital citizenship, digital safety, and that information literacy. And then the third performance objective is still looking at those tools and strategies to help a family's ability to work together to enhance a child's learning. This is an area that is very important because it not only ties to the communication systems that we have, and not only there's the family nights and some of those activities that are going on, but it is really digging in to ensure that families are understanding a child's learning, that parents can access the different pieces such as Schoology and all of the programs that we have, so that way they can truly be a part of their child's learning. And there's a few more here for our well-being and mindfulness. The first one for objective 4 right here is really looking at what training we've already implemented and then continuing on with those pieces to eliminate bias within instruction, assessment, and communication. We have a lot of different pieces that we're looking at for this year that are going to have some translation tools that will be able to help too with some of the communication for some of our families who do not speak English as their first language. And then also in performance objective 5, we're going to be looking at those strategies that support social emotional well-being of learners. And performance objective 6, once again, is looking at our safety procedures and protocols. Going on to goal number 4 and looking at organizational improvement and strategic design. This is an area right here where we're looking at those systems once again. You'll notice too that there aren't as many little asterisks next to some of these because this is looking at district-wide systems. The campus may have some different pieces that they're looking at for their campus-wide systems, but it wouldn't necessarily mirror what is going on with the district. So here we have in performance objective 1, it's really looking at professional learning communities for all campuses. There may be some pieces of professional learning communities that a campus has, but it will depend on how they would like to structure that goal. The next one is looking at performance objective 2, really looking at our comprehensive balanced assessment system. And when we're speaking to the assessment system that we're monitoring student growth and looking at different pieces there, we're not just talking about STAR data, or we're not just talking about end of course exams. We're really looking at the whole child and figuring out ways to see how are we truly measuring performance across the board throughout the year. And then performance objective 3, we're really looking at our current RTI system as well as our professional learning community practices to see how those two are merging together. They're not separate entities, and we want to make sure that we have a good system that's in place for all of those things to help support learners. And the final 2 that we have right here for our performance objectives, we're looking at those internal and external communication pieces to really help with clarity and consistency. There have been some bumps along the way with communication. As the world today, we have a lot of ways that we can communicate, but we're really trying to streamline some of those processes and make it easier, not only for our families and our learners to be communicated with, but also just the internal pieces for all of our staff to get messages, as well as keeping everybody on the same page when any kind of change may happen. And then the final performance objective 5, we're really looking at our professional learning. Once again, for that qualitative and quantitative data that we have, what kind of feedback are we getting from our educators of their needs, and then how can we keep our driving force going with what we need to do for learning. And once again, each of these performance objectives will have a strategy underneath them. So think about 1 to 3, no more than that, strategies under each of these goals in order to help you get to the place that we need to. You can think of strategies as well, similar to action steps, in order to help us get to where we're going for our goals. And the strategies are currently being finalized for all of our district performance objectives. So you'll be seeing more of those pieces here this next week when some more information is shared for the district improvement plan. For our campus improvement plans, that will be coming to you within the month of September. So you will get some updates then as well. All right, so you have the opportunity to do questions and answers right here. And so what I have created is a Padlet tool. For those of you that have not used Padlet, I will go through that process in just a second and click on that link for you. But just know that once again, some more finalized pieces will be coming. And as you know, this particular plan, the district improvement plan and campus improvement plans, can change based on needs throughout the year, especially with strategies. If we see that we have met a certain strategy and we needed to adjust, or there was something that needed to continue on to the next year, that is something that we could look at as well. But the overarching goals and performance objectives would remain the same. And then hopefully going into this next year, some of those pieces would be able to remain the same too for our overarching goals to allow for greater consistency within all of our plans. So I'm going to attach this link once again in the email that I sent you. However, I'm also going to show you right quick when you click on this particular link. It will take you to a Padlet, and a Padlet's a great tool to be able to have collaborative ideas being shared together. So what I have right here is questions about the DIP, which is our district improvement plan so far, and you can add your questions that you may have here, and then that way I can click on the responses for you, but that way everybody will be able to see each other's questions and responses. So if you've never used Padlet, you're just going to come down here and click on the little plus sign, and then you can put in the title, you can put your name. So I'm going to put Angie right there, and then if I have a question, I have a question about ... whatever that particular question you may have, and then when you're ready to post it, you will just click off of the box right there, and then you can also add another question, as many as you would like, but that will be there for you to also add to. And please also feel free to email me if you have anything else that you would like to discuss before our next updates come out.